dreaming of a white January 21st, just like the ones we... Nope, I'm not a singer, guys. I promise. I will not harm your ears any more than that. So, we are moments away from this live conversation about the chance of snow in, and I mean deep, South Alabama, Central Alabama too. As we get into next week, we're talking next Tuesday, is when we are likely going to deal with some wintry weather concerns across parts of the state. So let's dive in here. We will begin with sort of a timeline of all of this, and then we'll get into the maps, and then we'll kind of go from there about who gets what. And that's the number one question we get with situations like this. How much is it going to snow where I live, right? That's what everyone's interested in. And look, we're getting closer to an answer. Snowfall forecasts are never as easy as the maps we use to produce them. The maps we use are usually pretty well laid out, but what happens is snow is splotchy, right? Some people end up with more than we thought. Some people end up with less than we thought. Some people are very angry. Some people are very happy. That's the nature of this whole thing. So I want to begin with a look at the data here. We'll go into the raw data. And we have kind of a lot going on with that raw data. So let me take this, put it there, and then slide this over here. And now we are off to the races. This is the latest run of the North American Mesoscale model. It's the NAM. It's an older model, but she's got some life in her yet. Look, what we use this for, quite frankly, is just sort of a kind of an approximation of timing for all of this. Watch with me. So it turns bitterly cold tomorrow. So it's dry and cold. I'll scroll up a little so you can see the time up here. If you look at the upper left of your screen, this is valid at 3 o'clock Sunday afternoon. It's cold and dry. It is bitterly cold Monday morning. Temperatures plunge down into the low 20s, maybe even upper teens in the coldest spots. Monday is a raw, cold day. Afternoon highs will struggle into the mid-30s. The wind chill will be dangerously low at times. Please bundle up. Then Tuesday gets here. Look what happens. Blue on this map is snow. The darker the blue, the heavier the snow. And look what I see. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's a large area of snow overspreading initially Mississippi in the morning. And then the model has this by late morning arriving in West Alabama. And then would you look at that? A widespread snow, some of it heavy, covers most of Alabama. Now, the model says rain down here in far South Alabama. Quite frankly, I would ignore that. See the green down there around Dothan? Look, that's most likely going to be snow in reality. In fact, when you look at this forecast sounding here, the red and the green line there, mainly to the left of that blue line. If you look very carefully, you see this little dashed blue line here. Left of that is where the air is below freezing. It's 29 with a dew point of 10. Wet bulb cooling would take you down into the low 20s. This would likely be snow or sleet, not rain. So when you're looking at computers, and I know this because I've done this a long time, some of these precip type fields are off. You have to look at the soundings yourself as a meteorologist. There's an extra layer of work that goes into this. But the idea that I want you to get from this specific set of data that you're looking at is snow will arrive as early as Tuesday morning. That's one thing we got to point out. In overrunning events, typically precipitation arrives earlier than the computers expect. So that showed you an arrival time of noon to 3. I think it's probably earlier than that, particularly in West and Southwest Alabama. Okay, so it snows most of Tuesday afternoon and into Tuesday evening. Then late Tuesday night, this finally kicks on out of here. And then the question that's on everyone's mind, how much is it going to snow? Let me show you the data on that. We'll again go through the raw data first, and then I'm going to show you our specific forecast. Now, there are differences. There are always differences. But understand, we're really going to talk impacts here. we're going to talk about what the data shows and what the data actually means. So specifically, watch this. When you're looking at this specific piece of data, this is an ensemble forecast. It's called the short range ensemble. Basically, we're taking a whole lot of short range models and merging them. But you have to understand what you're looking at. This is an average of all of those. So what happens here, there's actually going to be a relatively narrow band of heavy snow. Some of these models have that snow a little farther north. Some of them have it a little farther south. When you average it all together, you get this really big, broad area of accumulating snow, right? I mean, this map I'm showing you here, this thing runs all over the place. Let's do this. That we've gotten a little discombobulated. I'm showing up multiple times. That's what I want. Okay, so see, this shows a really broad area of accumulating snow going from Gadsden to Dothan. In reality, it will likely be a little narrower than that. There will probably end up being a narrower band of 1 to 3 inches, 2 to 4 inches of snow. When you average together a lot of models, you get this broader, more stretched out look, but the reality will probably be a little more narrow than that. We've tried to account for that in our forecast. And frankly, that's one of the really difficult things about this specific event is where is that northern cutoff? There's going to be a really sharp gradient with this, guys. If you're 10 miles too far north, you're going to get no snow at all. If you're 10 miles south of that line, it snows 2 or 3 inches and everyone's building snowmen. All right, here's another piece of ensemble forecast data. This one is off the European. We use this more in the mid-range. We're getting closer now to some higher resolution short-range data that allows us to get more accurate on this. But again, same concept. It shows that broader area. Understand what we are looking at here is sort of for a consensus idea. And that idea is coming together pretty well. You look at the previous piece of data, short-range ensembles. Here's the Euro. Here's the National Weather Service blend of model data right here. In fact, I think we may have a new run of that out. So let me dive into that. We'll do this on the fly. There is the new NWS blend of data. And look at this. I'm seeing this for the first time too. There is a little northward shift here. Now, our forecast already accounts for some of this. We are being intentionally conservative on amounts. You'll see the numbers here are a little on the high end from what we're projecting, but we anticipate a northward shift in the data to occur, and it looks like that may be happening right now. We will get a full suite of overnight data tonight and morning data tomorrow, and then tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for today in Alabama, we may adjust this. Look, our weather teams, we've been communicating all day. We will likely adjust this. We could even adjust this tonight for the news at 10 with Amanda. So that's the brand new data there off the NWS blend of models. But again, this is a blend of model data. It is showing you a lot of things averaged out. The reality will likely be a slightly narrower band of moderate snow. So let me show you an individual model to give you that concept here visually. What I don't want you to do is focus on numbers. Quite frankly, in an event like this, the numbers don't super matter. The infrastructure, the bridges, the pavement, the roads, everything's going to be cold and the air temperature is going to be in the upper 20s. Everything's going to stick. So an inch, 2 inches, 3 inches, to some degree, it really doesn't matter. From an impact perspective, the impacts will be mostly the same. Roads are going to become very quickly difficult, if not impossible, to drive on Tuesday night, and Wednesday. Okay, so look at this, the NAM here. And I'll take this full screen and just kind of voice over what I'm showing you. This shows you that very sharp cutoff, right, that I've been telling you about. So yeah, I've got the little cursor here moving it on the screen. In this specific set of data, Montgomery does very well. We get 4 inches of snow. Look at that. Wow, that would be one of our biggest snows on record. Not the biggest, but that would be immediately top 5. You go up I-65 into northern Autauga, it barely dusted the ground. I'm not saying that specific scenario is what's going to happen. I'm saying there will be a really sharp cutoff on this northern edge. Where exactly that cutoff is, I think will end up being a little farther north than what you see there. We are projecting a dusting to 2 inches of snow for northern Autauga and Elmore and Coosa and Tallapoosa and Chilton. And we'll get into those numbers momentarily, but I think there will be a little bit of a northward shift. But understand, when you're looking at a lot of these ensemble products, you are getting the averaging of a narrower band. 10 different models are showing that narrow band in slightly different places. When you average them all together, it's this big, broad area of snow, but the realistic life outcome will probably not necessarily be that. There will be a pretty sharp cutoff here between some 2, 3, 4-inch totals and some half-inch totals and some less than that totals and some zeros. So that's where we are. Okay, I'm going to show you our snow map. This is what we've come up with at WSFA today. Now look, I'm already getting people frustrated saying, you are the only person saying a dusting for Autauga and Chilton and Coosa. Josh, what is wrong with you? Okay, so first off, it says on the graphic, dusting to 2 inches, right? So that's thing one I would point out. We are not saying that everyone in that area is only going to get a dusting. We are saying that could be the low end if this band trends south. If this band comes north, we think you could end up seeing 2 inches or maybe even more than that, depending on how this all trends. So if you're watching this and you're rooting for accumulating snow, you want to see high totals, and you're frustrated by the word dusting, please do not be. Read the entire range, use the entire range, right? We say you're on the graphic, dusting to 2 inches, and that's precisely what we mean. We are a team of straight shooters. We tell you exactly what we think is going to happen based on the currently available data. And we think there will be a widespread 2 to 3 inch snow that covers most of the southern half of the state, really everywhere from about Alabaster south gets accumulating snow in this. There will be a sharp cutoff on that northern edge where it goes down pretty quick. We don't know yet exactly where that's going to set up. We'll have a much better idea, by the way, tomorrow night, once we get inside the range of some even higher resolution models than the ones I'm showing you here. So that's that. Okay, so a lot of you are still going to ask me, what about your town? What about your county? What about Slapout? What about Millbrook, etc.? So what we've done, and kudos to Amanda for making this graphic here. Look at this. Even if you cannot find yourself on a map with both hands, and that's a PG-13 version of a saying I learned a long time ago. If you can't find your county on a map, look, we've listed it for you. If you don't know what county you live in, I'm not sure I can really help you much. Just Google it. What county is Prattville in? That's Autauga. So again, understand the numbers that you see on the screen here are going to change. These are all going to change. This is a first draft of this. Also, please look at the entire range. I think most of you watching this have a very good chance. This is your best chance in years of accumulating snow. This is the best chance in the WSFA service area of accumulating snow since January of 2018. And it may even be better than that chance was. So this is, when I say our best snow chance in 7 years, I mean it, right? This is the best chance we have had for accumulating snow in our area in 7 years. So those are the numbers as we see them right now. Again, not to beat the horse to death here, those are going to change, right? Those numbers, the numbers you see here are going to change. They are going to go higher. I suspect they are going to trend a little higher. I expect that some of the northern counties will probably end up closer to 2 inches than a dusting. But I and our team, we are conservative forecasters, because we have been burnt to a crispy, blackened, well-done texture by snow forecasts in Alabama. So we come into this sort of conservative. Just that's our nature, right? So a couple of questions. Do you think some counties could exceed 3 inches? Yes, I really do. I think someone out there in that heaviest band just north of where it's sleet's falling. So there will be a zone of rain along the immediate coast that may even mix with ice. They may have ice down there all the way to the coast. Then there will be a band of sleet along I-10 in Florida and Mobile area. Just north of that, wherever that band sets up, someone could get 4, 5, 6 inches of snow. That's on the table as a possibility. Again, we're not competent enough in that to say who gets that much, but I do think someone out there probably goes over 3 inches. So will the numbers trend higher? I tend to think they will, but We'll see. Really intelligent question. This is one from Jack Ogburn. Jack asked, Josh, do you think the snow-liquid ratio will be above 10 to 1? Like a 15 to 1 to give us fluffy, lighter snow with higher accumulation locally? Yes, I do. This is a very rare setup for us here in Alabama. Now, what he's asking about is something called the snow-to-liquid ratio. Basically, if you take an inch of snow and you melt it, how much water is in that? Really dry snow, you melt it, there's not much water in it. What that means, though, is it does not take much liquid in the atmosphere to produce some pretty big snowfall amounts. That's sort of where we are here. Your average ratio in Alabama is about 7 to 1, 8 to 1, meaning every when you melt down that snow, right? If you had 1 inch of liquid, that would build 8 inches of snow. So if you took 8 inches and melted it, you'd have an inch of liquid. This one's going to be more like 12 or 14 or 15 to 1, meaning it doesn't take as much moisture, meaning a couple of things. This is good news, bad news. The good news in that is this is going to be a snow that is far less likely to create as many power outages as a heavy wet snow would. There will probably still be some power outages in the heaviest snow zone, but they will be fewer than they would be with a heavy wet snow like the blizzard of 93, December of 17, some of those other big ones. Those were heavy wet snows. This will not be that. Now, that means it's also not super great snow for making snowballs and snowmen and stuff like that. It's a little fluffier snow. So, Jack, that is a very intelligent question. So, there you go. Let's talk travel. I suspect that it is going to be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to travel as early as Tuesday morning in some spots, and then certainly by Tuesday afternoon, Tuesday night. I suspect it is going to be nearly impossible to travel in many places across Alabama. Then by Wednesday morning, it may be even worse then. So a fun thing that happens, and when I say fun, I'm being sarcastic. In Alabama, when we get snow, it snows. It sticks on the roads. Our snow has water in it. All snow does. The gravity of the earth tends to pull that water down through the snow to where it forms water begins to just sort of drain out of the bottom of the snow. The problem is when that happens Tuesday night, the air temperature is going to be in the upper teens to low 20s. You get where I'm going with this. I think by Wednesday morning, even roads that were kind of snowy when this first started are going to become a giant sheet of ice. So I actually think travel may get worse Wednesday morning. It's going to be bad Tuesday. It's going to be terrible Tuesday night. I think Wednesday morning, Tuesday night to Wednesday morning, it may be at its absolute worst. And then travel problems will probably continue most of the day Wednesday. Now, eventually Wednesday, the sun comes back out and some of this starts to melt. If all of it melts and evaporates, this is a good thing. If some of it melts, then the sun goes down and the temperature drops again Wednesday night, then we get a little refreeze problem for Thursday morning. We really won't know about that until we see how much snow actually falls. Plus, quite frankly, that's going to be different, not just from road to road, but from one section of roadway to the other. Stretches of roadway that are tree covered and tree lined and don't get much sun, those could be slick until Thursday afternoon. Well-traveled roads where a lot of 18-wheelers are going that get direct sun, those could improve a lot faster than that. Bottom line, impacts here. Sporadic power outages, but that's not as big of a concern as it normally is with a heavier, wetter snow. Travel is going to become difficult or impossible across almost all of Alabama Tuesday night, and much of Wednesday. If you do not have to be out in that time frame, don't be. Based on the current accumulation forecast, which is right over there. See it? There. We're going county by county there. So there you go. Don't travel if you don't have to. I suspect, I'm not in charge of this, but I suspect a lot of things are going to be closed both Tuesday and Wednesday. By the way, pro tip here. When you go to the grocery store, milk and bread's pretty useless during snow, unless you just like milk sandwiches, which that's kind of weird. Get things that are easy to cook, that open easily. I like to get a few canned things just in case the power were to go out. And then I like, personally, frozen pizzas. They're pretty easy. Everyone likes them. Picky kids, everybody's happy, right? So, will the snow on the ground make it colder? Stuart, yes, it will. Yes, it is going to be bitterly cold Sunday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, and probably Wednesday night. 4 nights in a row there where you'll want to drip a faucet in your home. Put those foam covers on any exterior spigots outside your home. If you don't have the foam covers, that's A-okay. Take, before any snow gets here. So I would do this ASAP. Tomorrow would work for this. Wrap it in a towel or a shirt, some kind of cloth, and then put a bag over it, like a Ziploc bag, and then tape that off where the water, the wetness, the snow, the ice can't get down in there, but you'll hold in some of your home's heat, and that'll help protect those exterior spigots. In my opinion, how much snow do you think it could be? I think someone in that heaviest band, given the high snow liquid ratio, someone in that band could get 6 inches of snow in that heaviest band, right? Where is that? Is that Mississippi? Is it Alabama? I think someone in the southern half of Alabama or South Mississippi could end up with a half a foot of snow. Ashley asks, is this a Diet Sunkist situation? Yes, indeed it is. Yeah, we're going to load up on the Diet Sunkist tomorrow. So, yeah, this is going to be one of those. We're going to be probably camping out at work a good bit. A lot of specific questions about specific drives, specific roadways. The honest to God answer is I don't know. I can tell you from a very broad perspective, travel is a really bad idea Tuesday night, and at least Wednesday morning, and maybe later Wednesday, depending on how much sun comes out. Outside of that, you could get out here on Interstate 65 and drive, and half of that roadway, the 18-wheelers have knocked the snow off, and there's some ruts, and you're fine. And then you get to a bridge, and everything's horrible. That can all unfold in about a 500-yard stretch of one road. So specific road questions, I don't know. Honestly, a great resource for you there, it's going to be ALDOT, the Alabama Department of Transportation. If you go to their website, they've got maps and cameras. You'll be able to check out, they've got a ton of roads. It's not just interstates. They got a lot of state highways, a lot of U.S. highways. You can check out the cameras there, and those will give you a little bit of an idea about where exactly the highest snow risk is going to set up in this whole thing. So there you go with that. Let's do a little more. Let's see if we're getting any more. We're getting into that time of night now where these 0Z computers start to come in here. We'll go through those. And again, look, computers, there are dozens of computers that we look at. Some of them have really great ideas about this. Some of them have ideas that we sort of all go, well, that's probably not going to happen. Some of them show no snow at all. That's what we call an outlier. When a computer has an idea all by itself, we call that an outlier, right? What we look for is kind of that middle ground. What is not the craziest, wildest, snowiest solution, not the driest solution? What's in that middle ground? What are most of the computers showing? That's what we really zero in on, because that really tells the story pretty well. Now, that being said, I want to show you something. You want to be a meteorologist. Let me show you this. All right, kids, this is the latest run of the Icon model. And look at that. It doesn't snow a single flake. Anywhere north of a line from Camden to Montgomery to Union Springs or to Tuskegee to Opelika. No snow at all. Man, boy, wouldn't we look dumb if that happened. Then on the flip side of that, you've got the regional run of the Canadian model. What does it show, Josh? Well, I'm glad you asked. Look at that. It shows a half a foot of snow. The pink color you see there, it shows a half a foot of snow over most of Wilcox and Dallas and Monroe. It shows 5 inches in Montgomery. And it shows this would be one of the largest snowstorms in the history of South Alabama. It drops a half a foot in Mobile. Wow. But again, those are probably the two outlier ideas, right? And there's an outlier on the no snow side, and there's an outlier on the holy smokes, it snows a foot side. So the truth is usually somewhere between, right? The atmosphere usually does the consensus idea, the idea that the majority of our accurate computers show usually ends up being pretty close. So that's what we're rolling with in our forecast. That's what the National Weather Service is rolling with, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah. So all that to say too, you're going to see and hear some really crazy stuff that pops up on social media with a lot of this stuff. Just understand, some of these computer models are just totally cuckoo. They're going to show crazy things. Now, the one that showed no snow, no one's going to show you that on social media. No one. You know why? Because you won't share it, you won't click it, and they won't make any money off of it. So they won't do that. I like to try to show you everything. That's not really feasible to do in a relatively short period of time, but that is the goal, is to kind of show you everything and then show you what we think is going to happen inside all that. So that is where we are. That is where we have been in this whole thing, is we just sort of call balls and strikes, for lack of a better term. Let's switch these out. There we go. So there we are. We anticipate this to be a significant accumulation of snow across almost all of the southern half of Alabama, even way down south. There will be a band that sets up that is capable of producing 2 to 4 inches of snow or more. The precise location of that band, we don't know yet. No one does. Careful using the ensemble products. They are averaging together a lot of different ideas about where that band sets up, and they're showing this huge widespread area of snow amounts. It will likely be a little more condensed than what you're seeing in those ensembles. Careful with individual models. They can show everything from half a foot of snow to no snow at all. Good meteorologists, maybe not even good, experienced meteorologists, look at those, understand what they are, discard the outliers, and come up with a consensus-based forecast, which is what you see on your screen here. So timing, that's a tricky one, right? So timing. Typically, models are too slow with the onset of overrunning precipitation in a cold weather regime. What does that mean? The model data shows this coming in Tuesday afternoon. I suspect it'll actually come in Tuesday mid to late morning. If you remember back in 2014, we actually got burned with that. I'm not tooting anyone's horn here. In 2014, they had the big Snowmageddon thing in Birmingham and Atlanta. And in Montgomery, we actually had a very good forecast for that event in Montgomery. And one of the reasons we were able to do that is because we had noticed, hey, the model's too slow. So we had it starting in the morning. Now, full transparency, it actually started even earlier in the morning than we thought it would. But we had given some pretty good guidance out. Things were not as bad as they could have been here. They were still rough, right? Anytime you get a quick burst of freezing rain that ices over the Alabama River Bridge on I-65, that's going to be a problem, no matter how good the forecast is. So it was still a nightmare getting home for a lot of you. I understand that. But we noticed that years ago, that in these overrunning setups for snow or ice here, it's typically going to start faster than the models think. So that's where we are. Questions. Some of these questions have me questioning if Josh is a psychic or a weatherman. Right, I agree with that. Bud Porter asked about Snowmageddon, right? So look, this is going to stick as soon as it starts. Air temperatures will be in the upper 20s. Roads will already be cold. This is going to stick very, very quickly, and it will not take much. Look, a quick snow shower, it hits the road, it sticks, it probably forms up into ice, and very quickly, this becomes a dangerous driving situation. So lots of questions about travel and drivability. Again, Landon, I don't mean to pick on you here, but Landon just said dusting for Auburn, question mark. James Spann said 3 to 4 inches for that area. We are not saying a dusting for Auburn. Read Lee County dusting to 2 inches. There's a range there. There's a range there for a reason. The reason it's dusting to 2 in some of those northern counties is some of the models show a very sharp northern cutoff. The synoptic pattern favors a very sharp northern cutoff. That means there's going to be places where they get 3 or 4 inches of snow, and 10 miles north of there, they get 0. So we think that northern cutoff will occur a little north of Montgomery. It may trend a little farther north than that in time, but we don't know that yet. So we are conservatively saying a dusting to 2 inches in a lot of our northern counties. We are not saying it is not going to snow there. We are not saying this is going to be a non-issue there. We think this is going to be a high-impact winter storm in every county that we serve in Alabama. Every county that's on the screen right now. A dusting, a half inch, an inch, 2 inches, with temperatures in the 20s, everything's going to probably freeze up. So again, maybe I need to be on Prozac or something. I don't know, but I have had no less than 50 people ask me about this whole dusting thing. Why are you the only idiot saying it's going to be a dusting? I'm not. There's a range on the screen. It says dusting to 2 inches. So Again, I'm not trying to be ugly or rude or mean. I just really firmly want to tell you, read the entire range, understand it will probably change, understand if it does change, I think it probably ends up going up a little, but we are still, this is for Tuesday, it's Saturday night. Anyone who tells you they can nail down a snow forecast in Alabama, what would that be? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 3 days in advance, is a snake oil salesman. They are selling you a grade A supply of BS. Barometric shenanigans is what BS stands for in this instance. So there you go. That's where we are. Please, please, please read the whole thing. Understand why that is. And that's why I'm doing this Facebook Live. I want you to understand why it says dusting to 2 inches, because there's going to be a sharp cutoff and we don't know yet where that is. So in a worst case scenario, if that cutoff line trends south, sure, yeah, parts of northern Autauga County, they could get little or no snow. I don't think that's going to happen, but is it on the table? Yeah, it is. I suspect it is more in the 1 to 2 inch realm there. That's why I put dusting to 2 inches on this graphic. That our weather team spent hours kind of coming together and building. So anyway, rant over. We can go on back to just hanging out. Have I stocked Sunkist? Yes, we've got the Sunkist. How does this setup prepare compared to 2018 and 2017 snow events? Quick answer is it's really kind of a hybrid. So in some ways, it's a little like both of them. In some ways, not. So 2017, you had a stalled frontal boundary that was really running more north-south. Arctic front comes in, stalls out. Cold air seeps back in that, changes rain over to snow, and we get a huge unexpected snow. That was the December 2017 event. This is not like that. This is one of the rare Alabama setups where I really don't have any question marks about how cold it's going to be or if it's cold enough for snow. It is going to be cold enough for snow. That is a slam dunk. The question is, how far north does the moisture move and how much moisture is there? That's what we're trying to answer here. In that respect, it's a little more like 2018. 2018, though, did not involve a Gulf of Mexico surface low. It was more of a kind of clipper system that dove in from the northwest. However, it did have very high snow to liquid ratios, which this event will have. So shades of similarities, yes, but nothing, nothing super, it's not really like either one of them. When do you think they'll issue watches for the area? Very soon. I think that'll happen late tonight or tomorrow morning. Tony asked kind of the same thing. Winter storm warnings? Yes. I think they'll issue a winter storm watch tomorrow or tonight, late tonight, tomorrow morning, and then they'll upgrade that to a winter storm warning not long after that. More questions here, more questions. What are the highs for Tuesday with wind chills? High temperatures Tuesday are probably low to mid 30s, and the wind chills will be in the 20s. So bitterly, bitterly, bitterly cold. Power outage potential. I do not think that there will be widespread power outages. There will be some. They will not be as widespread as they typically are because the lighter consistency of the snow. This will not be that heavy, wet, clumpy snow in most spots. Most of you, this will be a lighter snow, a dustier snow, right? A fluffier snow. So that tends to lower the amount of power outages. It doesn't bring it to zero, but it does lower it. What model has been most accurate in predicting this year? Gosh, it depends on what you mean. The European has scored very highly. It's the usual suspects. GFS has done pretty well. Canadian's been over-amplifying most things. Pretty typical. Euro ensembles. The Euro ensembles are typically the best anywhere. So we go with that. Driving to Huntsville tomorrow, you're fine. No issues tomorrow. This all arrives on Tuesday. Commuting on Tuesday morning to be an issue? Yes, I do. I think that if not Tuesday morning, not long after, right? It's either Tuesday morning or midday at the latest. And I would plan on early Tuesday morning. It would be my personal plan. Wherever you're trying to get, go ahead and get there pretty early Tuesday morning. Do I think the governor will call a state of emergency due to this system? Yes, I do. I suspect they will do that. Yeah, I don't know. That's the governor's call, right? I don't have any inside intel on that. Just me thinking out loud. Yeah, probably so. Interstate travel on Wednesday. Probably still some icy spots. Is there a remote possibility of a situation like 2014? No, it's not remote. There is a very good chance this is like 2014. We expect this to be like 2014, where there is snow and snow-covered roads and impossible travel. If you're just joining us, again, that's the whole thing. Shane, yes. Champ and Lucy did get the belly rubs you sent. That is much appreciated. How much of the area do I think will be in the winter storm watch? All of it. I think it will be a winter storm watch for, I bet they'll go from like Birmingham all the way to the Gulf Coast, would be my guess. And then they'll upgrade that to a warning. My suspicion would be about, off the top of my head, probably Sumter to Chilton to Clay to Randolph would end up in a winter storm warning. And everyone south from there. As crazy as that sounds, right? This will be one where, Fairhope has a better chance of seeing snow than Huntsville. So give you some idea about how crazy this whole thing's going to end up going. All right, I have now neglected my family for 39 minutes, which I don't like to do. So here's the deal. Amanda Curran is coming on WSFA in 22 minutes. She will have an update there. I would encourage you to check that out. She will have new forecast maps. She will show you new model data. She'll show you all kinds of stuff. So she's got an update at 10. I'll be in tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. to do an update on Today in Alabama Sunday edition. That's on WSFA. At the same time we do that, I'll do an additional Facebook Live tomorrow morning at 9:30. We'll probably stream that on the First Alert Weather app too. We will do more videos than normal on the First Alert Weather app, so keep an eye on it as well. We'll do some live streaming on the First Alert Weather app and here on Facebook and YouTube. Again, that will happen at various times on Sunday and Monday. We'll push those out on the app so that you see them. Take the time now to prepare. This is likely going to be a high-impact winter storm with 3 to 4 days of very cold weather capable of bursting pipes inside your home, with dangerous, if not impossible, travel conditions for many of you on Tuesday and Wednesday. Not all of you, but many of you. on Tuesday and Wednesday. So you need to prepare. You have time, right? I don't say anything ever to scare anyone ever. I just want you to be ready for what the weather's going to throw your way. And in this case, I think it's going to be a pretty tough winter storm, probably our most impactful one since 2018 and maybe even 2014. So this is going to be a pretty high impact scenario for, if not all of us, almost all of us. So, all right, appreciate you as always. Thank you very much for your time, effort, energy, and patience. Hope you all have a wonderful night. We'll wind this thing down now. Again, Amanda, 10 p.m. update on WSFA. I'll be along at 9 a.m. tomorrow with an additional update. They will likely issue a winter storm watch soon, but you already know that because you watched this video. So have a wonderful